What's going on, guys? DatGuyUnknown back in another video, and as you can tell from the title below, hold on, let me look down. Okay, yep, the title is correct. Unknown stories, near life incident. So you're probably asking yourself, didn't you have a near life death incident a while ago? Like, I made a video about it, but didn't you have one? Yeah, sure. It was a near car accident. And the guy messed up my leg. Still messed up a little, but I'm making it through it. So let me get myself comfortable because it is unknown story time. So I was about 7 or 8, anywhere between 8 and 9. I barely remember the age, but I still remember it because this story affects me personally, and it will affect me for the rest of my life because there's no way I can forget about it. I'm scarred, and I have to do something. So let's start. So first, if you guys watch live streams of me, then you probably notice I will often have glasses on or something, and I've never had glasses on. Like when I was younger, I didn't really wear glasses. I wasn't a big fan. But even then, it was just like, oh, why do people wear glasses? Blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, thank you. I don't have to wear glasses. Next thing you know, I go over to my grandmother's. This is the start of the story before the incident happens. So I'm going to my grandmother's. I hate going to my grandmother's house because she lives so far off the city. She doesn't live like the full city life. It's like the country life. So there's cars and such, but it isn't as busy as what I'm normally used to. Say like New York City, that's like what my city's like. So I'm used to like traffic, cars, all this stuff. That's how I can sleep. But it was so quiet and she was so strict. So no offense to her, but she's like a big believer in God. Yes, I believe God in myself, but she more of a believe like the devil and such. So if I want to watch The Simpsons, and I was a big person on Simpsons every Sunday, my parents knew I watched a new episode of Simpsons. I barely missed episodes of it. I was a big fan, but pretty much when I went over to my grandma's house, she believed that The Simpsons was involved with the devil and that I shouldn't watch it. And she prevented me from watching it. So that was one of the big reasons why I hated it. Another reason was there was nothing to do. Like, literally, you can go outside, but she wouldn't let me go far. Like, I can just walk around the house, but even then, that was so boring. So I stayed home. My cousin had a Nintendo 64 and PS2, so we played that. But even then, you get bored after a while because he didn't have as many games as I did. I had more games. Um, so next thing you know, the weekend's coming up, and my grandmother tells me that we're all going to a bonfire. Now, if you don't know what a bonfire is, just imagine a bigger campfire, but on a tree log or a tree trunk. And when I say we, pretty much it's me, my twin sister. We actually both went. She actually got her own room while there, and I had to share with my cousin. I hate that, but it was me, my sister, and my cousin. So it was very weird, but yeah. Going onward to the weekend when the bonfire is coming up, I'm excited because I had no idea what a bonfire is. All I know was the words fire. So I knew there was something with fire. I was just like, oh, there's going to be some type of fire. I cannot wait. And the thing is, I didn't have like phone or anything. My grandmother had a computer, but even then she wouldn't let me touch it. So because I was still smart with computers back then. Like she was afraid of me doing something with her computer. She still is afraid of me doing something to her computer now, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, so we go up to the person's house. He's about a 20-minute drive from the opposite direction of the city. So I was like, okay, so we're going over to someone's house. This is going to be a little different. And I was excited. And the person, he was getting ready to leave because he had to go to the store and pick up some supplies for the bonfire. So right now there's a few other kids my age, some people older me, and then of course it was the adults. So we was just all talking, relaxing. There was already a cookout, so there was food. I was like, yeah, free food. I want to get a bunch of food. There was drinks. Now I was a drinker when I was a kid. Like I loved drinking literally anything, juice, soda. Give it to me, I will drink it as long as I know beforehand. So, as the host is gone and he's on his way back because his wife had told me, oh, yeah, we're getting ready to start soon. He's on his way back, so make sure you're ready, blah, blah, blah. So, the kids, of course, nobody was really listening. I was running back and forth, having races. Now, the thing is, his entire backyard was humongous. Like, it's just a bunch of chopped trees and all that. Like, all you see is a bunch of tree trunks, and I was just like, whoa, he has a big backyard. And then if you walk all the way to the back, like, it will probably take about 2 minutes just to walk all the way to the back of his backyard. There was a pathway into the forest. I really wanted to go there, but of course I couldn't because I was little. So, anywho, I'm racing with some other kids, don't know them. Next thing you know, I trip over some wood because there was so much trees and all that in the back. So, I trip. Next thing you know, it was already dark, so of course I tripped. I didn't see anything. And I fall flat on my face. But the only difference between me and everyone else is a chunk of wood literally went into my eye. So, I still have the scar. I have glasses to prove and all that, but it just went into my eye. I didn't really think about it because pain doesn't affect me at first. So I didn't think about it. I just got up, looked around, and then like maybe 30 seconds later it phased me, and then I just started screaming crazy because it was just like, oh, there's a chunk of wood, there's blood coming out. So I run up to the stairs in the little patio area and be like, yeah, I'm bleeding, blah blah blah. So then I get directed into the bathroom. They clean me off. I get a cloth. They say, make sure you hold this against your eye. I'm just still freaking out, but at the same time I'm laughing because I'm just like, how did this happen? Like, I'm just dying of laughter while my grandmother's freaking out more because she knows my mom will be pissed. More of my dad because it's just like, oh, why wasn't you watching him? How did he do this to himself? Blah blah blah. But I'm sitting there screaming but laughing at the same time. Like, first screaming, and then when I calm down though, I'm just laughing. I'm like, huh, so how's this gonna affect me in the long run? Like, will I live? Blah blah blah. So my grandmother doesn't decide to call 911. She's just like, yeah, I'll take you to the hospital. I literally thought to myself, wait, aren't you supposed to call 911 in emergency? Just like a chunk of wood went into my eye. Like, I'm bleeding. There's so much. So literally we drive about 15-20 minutes out, excluding traffic. So on top of traffic, that was even longer. So we're sitting there driving to the hospital, and of course we don't go into the emergency room. We're waiting, filling out some papers. Now I get bored. I'm sitting there laughing, just like, oh yeah, hey, I have a chunk of wood in my eye, blah blah blah. So I look around and take the face cloth off my eye so people can see what it's like, and literally all I get is disgusted looks, and that makes me die of laughter even more. So I got even more attention. And the funny thing is, the paper that you have to fill out just with all your information, insurance number, blah blah blah, my grandmother didn't know any of that because something also requested social security, and she wasn't like my guardian or anything. So she had to call my parents, and that's when everything just turned into a reckless mess because they wanted to drive out, because by that time it was probably 9-10 o'clock, and they just wanted to drive out because it was like, oh yeah, I want to make sure he's okay, make sure there's nothing happening. I'm just like, so when am I gonna get food? I'm hungry. Like, I was really excited to get more food. So I was thinking about food more than my eye, and my sister found it weird. But oh well. Now, by the time I get into the operating room, they give me anesthesia, and I'm knocked out within 5 minutes. I wake up, it is bright. I'm just like, why is it so bright? I want to go back to sleep. A woman literally comes within 2 minutes of me waking up, brings me breakfast. It's eggs and something else. And the reason I remember it's eggs is because I hate eggs. So the woman walks away by the time she puts it down, and I didn't realize it, but I was like, there's eggs. So I just sat and looked at the food because I'm not going to eat eggs. I don't like eggs. So I waited about 5-10 minutes just in there, and then someone comes, tells me I'm okay to leave. So I leave. My grandmother, my sister, and my cousins sitting there waiting for me. And now the doctor says that I have to go to an eye specialist. They directed my grandmother to an eye specialist that was down the road, so we went there. Next thing you know, I gotta go into another waiting room, wait another 10-15 minutes. I was just like, really? I don't like waiting rooms. I'm impatient. I'm impatient now. That's what's funny, because 10 years later, I'm still impatient. I hate waiting, all that. Even when I'm driving, I hate waiting. So, waiting, and we get into the room. Now, the thing is, my grandmother isn't allowed. It's just me. So, I was kind of happy because that was a little bit of freedom. It was just me and that one guy. Now he tells me he's gonna look in my eye, try and open it as much as I can. The thing is, my eye was literally sealed shut, like just opened a tiny bit. I couldn't open it anymore. If I did, it hurt. So I was just like, this is the most I can do. So he was like, okay, next thing you know, this is gonna hurt. I was confused. He opens, like forces the eye open, and I just yelled my mouth off. Just like imagine somebody's opening one of your cuts and just making it wider. Because the thing is, I still had the cuts, I still had stitches. I probably still have stitches in my eye. I personally don't know, but literally he would just force my eyeball open. I mean, he forced my eyelid open, and just forcing it open from there caused so much pain, because he also put eye drops. Now the thing is, I had to do this constantly throughout the summer. So thankfully, by the time I started school, because this was around 4th of July, so I had the entire summer to rest up and get glasses. Now the thing is, after he puts eye drops in, he tells me I'm gonna have to do this constantly, and when I come back home to like my city, then I would actually just have to do it personally or have one of my parents. So I was like, kill me. Just kill me now. I don't want to do this. So next thing you know, my grandmother drives me home after getting the reports. And once we get to her house, pretty much she calls my parents, tells them that we're back home and that they can come if they want. So my parents hightail it on the highway, and they're there by 8 o'clock. And this is days later, so like a few days later. So my parents get there about 8 o'clock at night, and my dad just literally carries me. I'm thrown over his shoulder, and he carries me, puts me into the truck, and we just go. So fast forward a few more hours until we're home. My dad carries me up the stairs because we lived on the second floor of that house. So he carries me up, and I just start walking because I want to walk. I hate sitting in a car too long. So I'm just walking, and I've memorized my house by then. So it's just like, oh yeah, I know where I'm going. I know where my room's at. I can walk with my eyes closed. So I pretty much did that. And as I'm cutting through the living room, I trip and landed on my bed. So my dad told me, yeah, I moved your bed from your room to the living room, because the thing is, technically at that time, my room was outside the apartment, so I wasn't able to my parents weren't able to lock the door sometimes, because there was 3 doors. There was the first door, the second door, walk up some stairs, and then there's the main door. So it was very weird, but I'm not going to go into depth with that. Just know my room was outside the main apartment door. Anywho, so I'm tripped, I landed on the bed. Now I'm just relaxed. I'm like, oh, finally a true bed, my bed. Because the thing is, I had a share bed when I was with my cousin at my grandmother's house. So I truly hated it because I didn't have much space. I had long legs. I have long legs now. So I get home, I'm relaxed, and like, yes, my own bed, I can move around. And I fall asleep within like 10 minutes because I was just tired from everything that I did. The main thing that hurt was just opening my eyelid, because that was a pain. I still remember the pain. It hurts to this day. But anywho, So the next day comes on, and I have to go to one of the hospitals in my city because it was just like two different cities, and let them know of the situation. So first I was just like, oh, I want to watch some cartoons, watch some TV in general because it's been so long. So I turned on TV, instantly felt like the sun was the TV. So I was just like, I'm looking at the sun, it burns, my eyes is on fire. And it took me like 10 minutes trying to figure out something. My mom came with her sunglasses. The only thing is, I couldn't wear the sunglasses because I had a sun drainer patch. I'm calling it sun drainer just because it's not a water drainer, it's a sun drainer because you can still get the sun in it. I am so weird. But pretty much it was like a water drainer but a patch. So I had that over my eye, and I still couldn't watch TV. Now the weird thing is, I thought my left eye I would be able to watch TV just fine. Couldn't. Like, my left eye hurt on fire. It was just because they were in sync or whatever. And now my left eye is worse than my right eye, and the chunk of wood went into my right eye. So I'm still trying to figure out how that worked, because it's just like, if a chunk of wood went into your right eye, isn't your right eye supposed to be worse than your left eye? So I don't know how that works. Now we go up to the hospital. I do random bunch of tests, like, so they can test my eye strength. They was like, oh yeah, read off these letters, and that's when they also question it, because it's just like, how is the eye that a chunk of wood went into it stronger than your regular eye that nothing happened to? So literally every week for the entire summer, so from July going into the beginning of September, I had to go up to a hospital and do multiple tests, make sure my eyes were all right. And then by the end of September, I had gotten glasses. And that's just because I was able to finally see, but it's just like, I will forever be remembered of this accident. I've written multiple essays for it. It's just like, oh yeah, pretty much, oh yeah, if you want to write an essay on something, like what's something that you came over, I instantly start writing off something about the essay, about my eye, just because it's like that eye is the most thing that I've overcame. I'm still living, so I'm glad for it, but it's just a pain in my arse. Just like, yeah, a chunk of wood went into my eye. And it's funny explaining it because a lot of people think I have a sty, and a sty is just pretty much a bump on your eye, and that's what it looks like. So I was over someone's house, and they was like, oh, do you have a sty? Like, what happened? Everything all right? I was just like, what is a sty? I literally had no idea what a sty was until a few months ago, and that's what makes it so funny, because I never knew. So they was just like, they explained it, blah blah blah, and I was just like, oh, this cut on my eye, it's on my right eye, right? They was like, yeah. No, that's not a sty, that's a cut from when I was younger. A chunk of wood went into my eye, and at first they don't believe me, but then if you think about it, a chunk of wood, because this cut on my eye has been there for so long, and it will still forever be there because it went inward. So a lot of people believes me, and then I tell them, oh yeah, that's why I also have glasses. And then that's where everyone gets it, because it's just like, oh yeah, now I believe you. But well, some people I tell, they find it so disgusting. I'm just like, oh well, it happened. There's nothing I can do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this unknown stories. But if there's anything else, I hope you guys enjoyed. Love you all. Leave a like, leave a thumbs down, leave whatever you want, and just leave me some feedback. That's all I care. And I hope to bring some more unknown stories. I know this led up to 20 minutes, but I'm sorry. I just had to go into depth. And I'm sorry for the but then again, it is 3:35 a.m. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.